told you I'd eventually come back with a review for the Violet Voss fun-sized fruit sorbet mini palette, and here we are. So as a reminder, our colors look like this. And yeah, I don't know. I looked up what this palette goes for, and Sephora sells this for $18, which, for a palette of this size, like, again, compared to my hand, you can tell this is not a big palette. These are not large pans. And they can, with a straight face, ask 18 bucks. Now, I know there are much more expensive palettes out there that are even smaller than this. The difference is a lot of them perform better. So, I've got, as usual, my eyeshadow notebook. For those new here, yes, I have a notebook where I actually document every shade and every palette that I own as I use them. Partly so that when I do these reviews, I have a reference point, and secondly so that when it's been a while since I've last used them, I can reference this and look through and remember what were the pros, what were the cons of each shade, and decide from there what I'm gonna wear with what. So, first shade in here. These shades don't have names or anything. They're literally just pans in here. So I just went by numbers because how else am I going to do it? But we start out with that orange shade. It's a soft burnt orange that it really just doesn't go on quite as vibrantly as it looks like it should in that pan. But it's otherwise really velvety smooth, and it's super blendable, and it makes for, like, amazing sunsetty look. So, I mean, it's not all fail with that one, it's not as bright as it looks like it should be given that. So, I mean, yeah, you can build it, but it only goes so bright, so. I find myself pairing that one with oranges from other palettes that I have, and kind of doing like an ombre effect with the oranges, if that makes sense. So anyway, so the next shade in here is the yellow. And honestly, given how yellows and eyeshadows usually go for me, I was not expecting much. I thought that was going to be like a really anemic yellow like they usually are. I was so pleasantly surprised. This actually may be one of the best performing shades in the whole thing. Like, it goes on, even first layer, just as vibrantly as it looks in that pan. That's mind-blowing to me. I think that's the first time I've actually encountered that with one that I have. So I was like, oh my god, that's actually really nice. And it still blends out really nicely, even with it being like that neon yellow, which also is super nice. So you pair that with the orange, with another orange. Yeah, you totally get like the best sunsetty looks. Or you could do sunrise too if you add in some pink, you know. So that brings us to the green, which I wanted to be excited about. I really did. I was assuming it was going to be something like that green apple one from Steve Laurent that I've got that I freaking love. Not really. I mean, it's buildable, you can make it work, but you have to work at it to get this one to work. I thought it was going to be like a metallic version of that shade, and if that had been true and easily attainable, I figured I could like work the two together and it would look really cool, but it A, does not want to play nicely with other eyeshadows from other brands, and B, you have to layer so much of that one to pump up that color to look like what it is in the pan. And that was super disappointing. That about broke my heart because I had such high hopes and expectations for that one. Goodness. But yeah, you have to use at least 3 layers to even start getting it to look like it does in the pan. So it's disappointing. So the next shade in there is that beige, which we all know where this is going. I went in not expecting much from it because it looks like it's gonna just be my skin tone. And I wasn't wrong. It does 100% perfectly match my skin tone. That said, it is really opaque. And because of that, you can totally use it, like if you have the same skin tone as I do, you can actually kind of use it as a color corrector, and it's almost seamless. I was really impressed by that. So if it can do that for me, I imagine on somebody on with a darker complexion, this would actually show up really well on them and could probably get some really great looks. Just saying. So just because it didn't work that great for my coloring doesn't mean that it doesn't have a use, and doesn't mean that it's not great for someone else. That one actually does perform really well. Which is more that can be said for the one next to it, the white, which is a single person surprised by that. Usually whites don't do very well either. You have to like really build it up to even get it to look whitish, because otherwise it just goes on like a sheer shimmery veil, which I mean is cool and all, and you can totally use that with the other shades in here to create like some really unique looks, but on its own it's kind of a pain in the butt. However, the surprising thing with that one, being one of the 4 shimmer shades in here, the shimmer is not a white shimmer. No. It's actually like a reflective green shimmer. I was like, oh, that was unexpected, but actually really cool. So I like it a lot. And then if you layer it over another color, it can look very different. Like, I've got it over the black one in there. You can kind of see the greenish tone that's in there. It's not the highlighter up here. This is totally different product, but down here, I layered it over the black just to lighten up a bit, brighten it, get it looking a little less emo kid. But yeah, you can definitely see the green in there. But yeah, I mean, on its own, it obviously looks quite different than it does layered over another color, but it is kind of a very neat shade to play with because it looks so differently over the other colors. So even when they are shimmer colors, or even the mattes, it's a very different experience. So I'm enjoying playing with that one. So that brings us to the red, which about perfectly matches this shirt. Should have worn that today, but I didn't plan this out very well, so whatever. But it's a very vibrant pigmented red, and while I was really worried about how it was going to interact with other colors, because a lot of times if you get a really vibrant red in an eyeshadow palette, good luck getting it to not just overwhelm everything else in that look, or having it not carry way too far when you try to blend it, or you know how it goes with reds. This isn't even just true of eyeshadows, this is true of like art supplies and shit too. It's just par for the course with red. That kind of is just a thing. But I was actually really surprised at how nicely it interacts with other colors and how well it blends and smokes out and feathers. I like that one a lot more than I expected to. Straight up. Straight up. So, I was also nervous about whether or not it was going to stain my lids like a lot of red tones tend to do. This one doesn't do that. Again, very surprised, even wearing it hours and hours long all day. Did not do that. So, very happy to report that you don't have to worry about that with this one. But for as fun as that red was, you would think this pink would go on quite vibrantly, right? This looks like it should be a hot pink. Except that it doesn't play that way. You have to layer and layer and layer, and you really can't get a really good opaque shade out of this one. It's like an anemic bubblegum pink. What the hell? And it's super sheer. You cannot build this one up very much. Like, at best, you can still half see through it, even with layer after layer after layer applied. I tried, man. So, I mean, you can try to layer it over something else, but it's still not going to look opaquely pink. So, I don't know. That one was really, honestly, kind of a bummer to me for that. But, anyway, yeah, I had really, really high hopes for it. But even if you try to blend out the edges, it doesn't blend. You know what it does? It disappears. That's what this one does. There is no soft transition. No. It just fucking disappears into nothing. I'm like, oh, come on, really? I was so excited for it, too. Oh, well. But then, plot twist, this purple that looks like it should be hella deep purple, right? This goes on about the shade this one looks like it should be. Explain, universe. Explain yourself. Like, at best, maybe fuchsia-y, but I mean, it's very close towards what the pink looks like in the pan. So I'm like, couldn't you have just made the pink look that color and then the purple actually be purple? Just a thought, but no. But at the same time, I really do like that purple shade, and especially because it's what I thought I was getting with the pink. I mean, I can still very much use it, and I very much enjoy it. But yeah, it does do the blending thing, and the smoky thing, and plays nice with other colors. It does everything that the pink one doesn't do, that it should do. So I'm like, can we just get rid of that fail pink and replace it with this and get another color that doesn't fail in there, please and thank you? Just a thought. So then, this one just, it hurts. It hurts my heart, this blue. I wanted to love it so hard. I wanted it to be this beautiful sapphire. It does not go on sapphire. It goes on very, very thin wash of blue, but much like the green one, if you work at it enough, you can build it up, but it's not going to look the shade it does in there. At best, you're going to get like a metallic cerulean out of it, which is still gorgeous, and the shade that it becomes after layer after layer after layer, like 5 layers in, I love the shade it becomes. I just wish it were easier to attain it. That it didn't take so many layers to get there. And yes, this is with primer. It's even with, like, color enhancing primer, and it still takes that much. So, you know, there is that. It's not the greatest with its smoking out or anything, with the feathering. It kind of just, it basically just pushes it around with this one, which is true of the black in here too. Neither one of them are super great at that. But that black, which you'll notice I'm using air quotes around, does not go on black. No. Like, I will let you look at it again, and you'll notice that even in the pan, it's not super black. The background is super black, but you would assume it would come out something approximating black. It comes out a smoky gray shade with layer after layer after layer. You can't really get a good, intense black out of this. At best, you can darken it to like a dark gray, but it's still not going to translate to black in any way, shape, or form. And it's surprisingly patchy. I was like, how did you screw this one up? Black is usually the easiest one to get hella pigment out of, to the point where there's oftentimes too much pigment, and you so much as barely go too heavy-handed, and you ruin the whole thing and have to start over. No, they have foolproofed this enough to where even if you work at it, you cannot accomplish that. So I guess if you wanted an actual black shade, sorry, you're gonna have to take it from another palette because you won't get it here. This is literally just a gray. So I'm sure you've sensed by now that I have a lot of disappointments with this palette. Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. There are some nice shades in here, and I mean, most of them, I can at least find ways to work with them, but it takes a lot of effort, just saying. So, for me, I gotta rate this a 6 out of 10. Like, barely above average, but just right in that middle ground. Like, it could be worse. It could be so much worse, I am aware, but there's also so much room for improvement where it could be so much better, too. And looking on Google at looks from this palette, I noticed 2 camps. I noticed the realistic photos that, I mean, I'm impressed people even got that much out of them, but at the same time, you can still tell how wimpy a lot of the colors are. And then there's the ones you can tell somebody took into a photo editor and they bumped up the contrast to make them look more vibrant than they actually are. Because there is no way on this planet some of those colors are coming out the shades that they look in those photos. There is no way humanly possible you got them to do that. Even if you wet them down first, you're not going to get those shades out of them. That is frickin' Photoshop. Just saying. So, yeah, 6 out of 10. Very disappointed with this. But then again, I don't know. I didn't exactly go into it expecting a lot. I think this is the first time I've actually used a Violet Voss palette. I'm hoping others are better than this one, though. Maybe this one's just a fluke. I don't know. But, I don't know. It seems like people resell these for pretty damn cheap, despite them being 18 bucks on Sephora. Like, I see them go for 10 or less on eBay. I think I sold a dupe of, not this one, but the cherry limeade one, for like 9 bucks. And it took a while even for that guy to sell, so. Yeah, it's disappointing, but that happens sometimes with palettes. I mean, almost no palette is perfect, and I don't expect them to be, but I expect a little better than this, you know? But anyways, that's it for me from me for this one. I can talk. I can make words happen. So anyways, you know what to do. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like. If you're not already, you need like to be, click subscribe, hit that notification bell icon so you never miss an upload, leave comments down below. Have you tried this one? What were your experiences and thoughts on it? Let me know, as well as anything about anything. Make sure you're following my social media accounts, my Facebook fan page, my Twitter, my Instagram, my Etsy, everything and more. It's all down below. And if you like what I do here on this channel and you'd like to help support it, the donation link, as always, is down in the description. Get your name on the end card for a month from the time of donating. It does help me so much. Anyway, guys, till next time, bye!